seen ever since John Rolfe posted a Twitter pic somewhere around a week ago or a week and a half ago, saying that he hit Mythic very easily with the archetype. And, you know, all these powerful Planeswalkers, especially the cheap ones, give the deck a lot of legs. And it starts to look a lot like a prison deck in some respects, with the new Dovin locking down creatures and making spells a little harder to cast.
Players started with changing some land drops. Merriam had a Tormenting Voice that resolved. Negri has a turn 3 Teferi Time Raveler, gained a life off of his Interplanar Beacon, casting it.
Yeah, here Ross start off Mountain. That's not usually a great sign, but does have the Saheeli on turn 3 to start applying pressure while he casts his dig spells. Right now, he can't cast the Finale, of course, because Teferi does lock that down, but as long as he just has some dig spells here or a removal spell or two, you know, he can potentially clear out that token. It does cost 2 more with Kasmina, though, so I'd be much more happy by just, you know, casting some draw spells and creating some 1/1s from Saheeli.
Well, just Planeswalkers going back and forth. It's that Saheeli against that Kasmina you mentioned. Negri did make that 2/2 token, discarded a Hallowed Fountain off the loot. Back Merriam's way, he'll start with the Discovery, makes a Servo token off the Saheeli. He's going to surveil those top 2 cards, both of them into the graveyard, a Shock and a Lightning Strike. He'll draw. Yeah,
I think he just needs lands at this point. I'm pretty sure he kept Mountain Tormenting Voice, found the island, but doesn't have a second source of blue, so can't really double spell all that well. If he has the 3rd Shock in hand, he can cast it and generate a 1/1 body, but cannot target a Planeswalker, nor can he target the token because of Kasmina's ability where you have to pay 2 extra. Wow.
Ooh, just another Planeswalker. It's Sarkhan. That'll plus those 2 Planeswalkers are already on the table. Become 4/4 Flying Dragons. They rumble across for 8. Negri's gained another life off of now a second Interplanar Beacon. He's at 24. Merriam's at 12. Really commanding position for Negri.
Yeah, this is really bad for Ross, and this is something that happens sometimes with the Phoenix deck where you just kind of play some draw spells, don't find a 3rd, 4th, 5th land sometimes to get things going, and with a low land count of only 21, you know, it happens with some amount of regularity, but it also means that more often than not, though, you're not getting mana flooded in spots where you need to draw a lot of action.
Well, we go back to Merriam, and yeah, he just draws the cards and concedes. No 4th mana, nothing much to do, just a Servo token. He can't compete with that amount of Planeswalker.
No, and after sideboard, he does get some tools to interact with some of these Planeswalkers. Single copy of Spell Pierce is quite good. The Negate is okay, and the Disdainful Stroke, not so much. It does stop the Sarkhan proper, as well as Kasmina, but a lot of these Planeswalkers from Jeskai cost 3. Disdainful Stroke does not hit those. I definitely expect Ross to bring in Narset. It's one of the ways for him to compete against an opposing Teferi, either Teferi really, because they both draw cards, as well as dig for some of those dig spells that you can use to return Arclight Phoenix. Arclight Phoenix is the key card in this matchup, and just having more ways to enable it is important.
Yeah, we want to be attacking those Planeswalkers early and often, something he failed to do in that game. And you can see the sideboard and the main decks using the Cardboard Live extension, so you can check in what the options are. Negri has some removal spells, Baffling End, Prison Realm. 3 Spell Pierces of his own. How do you like Spell Pierce against a deck like Is It Phoenix?
Well, most of these iterations have main deck Spell Pierce in their early goings, and the fact that Kazu has just put 3 of them in the sideboard and none of them in the main deck leads me to believe that he values just being able to play mostly at sorcery speed over having some tricky 1-mana cards, and I am inclined to agree. I don't think Spell Pierce is that good in this particular matchup, even though the deck is dense with non-land spells. Oftentimes, they're usually just draw spells, and they're all redundant.
All right, so Merriam used some cantrips. Negri's first cast was Teferi Time Raveler, has an Interplanar Beacon, went to 21. That got hit by a Spell Pierce. Now Merriam's really spinning the tires, cast Finale of Promise, gets back the Chart of Course he cast earlier, this time discards Arclight Phoenix. So now he's on the table, hit an attack for 3.
Yeah, and this is really good stuff here for Ross. He's able to get a second Phoenix on the battlefield. The first one kind of checked by the Dovin, but not really. But Dovin does have that really strong static ability that messes with Ross's deck, where all of his instant and sorceries cost 1 extra.
Yeah, you saw him try to cast a Shock there that he couldn't pay for because of that tax. Now he uses it to take care of the Dovin. Teferi did bounce the second Phoenix. Here's Goblin Electromancer. Merriam had used Radical Idea previously. He'll jumpstart that, get a Phoenix in the graveyard, cast another Shock. Now there's 2 Phoenixes coming in.
Yeah, apologies for being so fast, but the next round is already paired, so we're trying to make sure we show you the whole match. I'm pretty sure Ross wins this game. 2 Phoenixes on the aggressive side. Third one from hand is cast, and if Kazu deals with it, then Ross can potentially just get the other 2 back.
Yeah, Lyra Dawnbringer was deployed for Negri. Ross has to do something about that. He'll start with the chart, of course.
Yeah, it's actually pretty bad news, but with 3 Phoenixes, he can maybe grind through the Lyra. We'll just have to see if he can assemble potentially like 2 burn spells to knock off that Lyra in one swoop.
He's just going to cast an Arclight Phoenix, going to hang out with those 2 Phoenixes against the 1 Angel.
There's a Narset. That one is fairly problematic for Ross, and Kazu doing the heads-up play of just not minusing, which means the Narset will stick around for a while because that Lyra Dawnbringer is protecting it.
Yeah, really difficult to deal damage in increments of 5. Merriam will cast Crackling Drake, will not draw a card because of the Narset.
Right. And now Kasmina is going to give him some additional protection and making the spells cost 2 more if he wants to cast like a Shock or Lightning Strike on either the Lyra or the Narset, plus a loot to get rid of an extra land. So it looks like Ross is actually in a lot of trouble here now. In a game that I thought he was going to be really far ahead, a single Lyra Dawnbringer is a bit troublesome to deal with sometimes.
Right, and because Merriam didn't immediately have the answer, that follow-up Narset makes things all the harder. Here's a Saheeli for Merriam, but you can't cast that many spells when you can't draw extra cards. He just has to pass back.
Yeah.
Another 2/2 and a loot off the Kasmina for Negri. That's down to 1 loyalty. The Narset's also going to go down to 3. Finds a Shock.
That leads me to believe that Kazu actually has a second Narset already, if he's willing to go from not ticking down a single time to ticking down when he has a handful of cards already. Definitely has the second one active more than likely.
Looks like there was an attack from one of those 2/2s on the Saheeli that connected. Go to Merriam.
Put 3 on the bottom. Augur Bolus putting 3 on the bottom, just like it's 2013 or 11 all over again.
Look at the bottom 3 cards of your library.
Yeah, they don't start that way, but that's sure as heck where they end up so often.
And here's another minus on the Narset that finds a Search for Escanta for Negri. He'll play that. And just the advantages keep compounding on his side.
Yeah, this is really bad news for Ross. I'm pretty sure this a game that I thought he had all but locked up. A single Lyra Dawnbringer just completely shifted the landscape, and then a follow-up Narset and heads up no tick down just kind of locks Ross out of all of these draw spells. And it's one of the reasons why a lot of people I think are not a huge fan of Izza at the moment, because you get some feel bad games like game 1 where you stumble, and then sometimes Narset comes down and just ruins your whole deck.
Right. And Narset just really an eminently main deckable, powerful card. When so much of your deck is redraws, that's just going to burn you a lot.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Narset in general. I think the card is extremely good, and not surprised to see it in high numbers this weekend.
Looks like a Sarkhan showing up to make a dragon for Negri.
Yeah, and if Ross isn't able to take down the Sarkhan, just pretty sure a tick up of Sarkhan is going to start threatening effectively lethal pretty quick here.
Electromancer for Merriam. He passes back. Hasn't been able to attack at all. Negri's going to find a Lightning Strike off of his Escanta, the Sunken Ruin. I believe he's been hanging on to a Shock that we know about for a while as well. At some point, he can just plow through all of these blockers and make a huge attack.
Yeah. Clear a couple of Phoenixes, tick up on that, attack with a bunch of Flyers. This might be the turn to attack with most of them, if not all of them.
Yeah, there was the plus on Sarkhan, so his Planeswalkers are 4/4 dragons. And on top of that dragon he made last turn with the Sarkhan. Looks like everything but the Narset is attacking, so Kasmina, the Sarkhan, and the Dragon token. Lyra will hang back. Double block on the Sarkhan by Arclight Phoenixes. Shock will take care of one of them.
Yeah, and of course, when it's a creature, the damage no longer takes away loyalty, but the 3 damage from the Phoenix and the 3 damage from the Lightning Strike, paying the 2 extra from the Kasmina's ability, allows him to take care of the Sarkhan at least.
And gets a Servo token too. But he still has to do something about that Lyra before he can think about attacking.
I mean, he can minus the Saheeli targeting the Thopter and the Crackling Drake, but this is all she wrote.
Yeah, he does have a lot of instants and sorceries. Those Drakes are huge, but they need to be, what, 16s or something?
Something like that. I was expecting more to attack Planeswalkers, but another Sarkin and a tick up means Ross is dead. 3-1, but still alive. Still got a pretty good record.
Yeah, but that pretty much wraps it up